how's you going, boys? Mike here. Welcome back to Grampie's Workshop. Something nice that you could join me. I hope you're enjoying this series about building the computer table. We're getting close to the end, but there's a little bit left to do, so let's have a look. Okay, I'm going to start to rip these down. Now, starts on with that side down, and I want to cut the first cut. I want to make the first cut come right alongside this dovetail that's cut. So I'll just measure that. That's about 3 1/4. So if I set my fence at 3 1/4, and we'll start the dust collection. That's open. Okay, not too bad. That's going to work all right. Now what I'd like to do, I like to get these pieces as wide as I can. So in order to cut that little detail out of there, which is a sin, but anyway, it's about 2 13/16. How about that? So I'm going to set my fence to 2 13/16 and just cut that as close as I can, because then I'll run it through the joiner and just dress those sides on. 2 13/16. Coming right up, master. There you go. Here we go. Okay, here we are at the joiner. I'm just going to run the joiner through these edges. I like to check the edges first to make sure there's no foreign materials in there. So I'm only going to do these edges. I won't do this face just yet until I cut them to length. So here we go. Oh yeah, that's what I'm talking about, baby. Look at that. After the other. Not too bad for no fallen woods. Alrighty, we're making some headway here. Because the side apron boards are this wide, I don't know how wide that is. I should have measured it. They're 2 3/4 wide. Ta-da! The front apron boards are only 2 1/16 wide. Ta-da! I made these little fancy doodads like this. Look at that. Isn't that pretty? Did you ever see anything like that? Oh well, unless maybe if you're in an IKEA store. Anyway, so my plan is, this is going to be the front apron board here. Like that now, and I glue those on there. See that? And then that makes it as wide as the side apron. Not that it had to be as wide as the side aprons, but it just gives more surface here to bear against the leg and keep the legs from racking. So that's sort of why I'm doing that. So what I have to do right now is I was going to put these on with biscuits, but I decided gluing is probably just as good. So I'm going to get my glue out here and glue this up. When I glue these up, and the way I'm going to glue them is just put a smear of glue on there, something like that. Something like that. We're going to get it right here. A smear of glue there. And then a little smear of glue here. I don't want to put an excessive amount on, but I want to put enough to make sure that it's going to stick good. So there, something like that. Wipe that off. And I'm going to stick that on there. I'm going to line it all up. Stick it on like that and clamp it. So I'm going to do that on both sides, on both pieces, clamp them together, and I'll show you that when I'm done. Okay, so there we are. We got these pieces glued in. I left them a little bit proud on the edges there, but tried to make the sides here as smooth as I could. But I'll sand that down later on, and I double clamp both ends. So we'll just put that away, let it cook for a while, and we'll work on something else. Okay, here we are here. Trying to figure out now how to let me see, how can I explain this? On the apron boards, I need to cut a saw kerf on the inside of the board to accept this corner bracket, right? Because that'll set back in that kerf cut. And the stud that's sticking out of the leg here will go on that, something like that, right? So, what I need to do is I have to figure out how far back from the corners that kerf cut should be, so that I can get my bracket in here with and make it work the best. So what I've got a couple of pieces, just these are sacrificial pieces because this is just a demo, and I'd like to set these skirting boards back from the front edge of the leg here, just a little bit like that, just to give it a little shadow line. So what I have is a little spacer here that's about 1/4 of an inch. So I'll put that in there to give me my spacing. And like I say, this is just rough right now, so that one looks not bad. I'll put this one on this side. And that looks pretty darn good. Now, that's going to probably go about like so. See that? Now what I have to do, before I move it around too much, get a pencil, put a kerf there, and a kerf right there. So I'm going to put those in there, and what I've done, is I set the height of the saw blade to just a little bit deeper than this. Wait till I show you this up close. The height of my saw blade is just a little bit deeper than that kerf right there, or than that angle. So I'm going to cut these two pieces and see if we can put together. Watch this. Okay. So there we have a corner. That's what the corner is going to look like. Okay. And that didn't turn out too bad. I think my glue is dry here, so I'm going to take the clamps off this guy and see how my gluing job turned out. So that's the skirt. Now I got a little bit of cleanup to do here. Scrape that glue off. Okay, here we go, trying to assemble it. I'm going to try and put the legs on the table. What I have here is the front apron and the back apron, or skirt board, apron board, whatever you want to call them. I'm looking for the best one. This one's a kind of a scuzzy looking mark there, plus a screw hole, so I'm going to put that guy at the back. I put my kerf cuts on each side, and also what I did, since I last had the camera on, is I just rounded over these sides here to make it, I don't know, smoother. And I did the same thing on these sideboards. Okay, so that's going to be what they're up to. Now we have to assemble it. We're going to try and set these up. I'm going to put this leg at the back just because. Turn the camera around so you can see the first leg going in. Okay, so that's going to go there. Turn like this, maybe you can see it a little bit better. That goes in that kerf, and this will go in that kerf, something like that there. Then you tighten this. I'm just going to make that finger tight for now, because no doubt we're going to have to make some adjustments. Okay, so that's one. Now, put you back here in the corner. Hopefully you can see the rest of them going together. Here's another leg, put it on this corner. Well, you see that? You couldn't see that one because it's right behind that one. But anyway, things are tough all over, folks. And then there's this one that goes in something like this. That'll go in there. That'll go in there. Righty-tighty. There you go. Now, just pull this around a little bit like this so you can see the last one getting put in place. Will it fit? Oh, yeah, I think not. That goes in there, that goes in there. That sort of tightens up in there, something like that. And we make sure that that's all down tight. I brought a wrench over here with me, I'm sure I did. Yeah, look, there it is. See that? The old disappearing wrench. So, I'm going to snug this up a little. Like that. And then I'm going to tighten them all up a little bit. Okay, tighten this one. And then I'll tighten this one over here. Just take this one in. Yep. 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 This one I think can get a little tighter. You don't want them real tight, eh? But you need them tight. Okay, there you go. You know what? That reveal is not the best. But nevertheless, there it is. I'm going to flip it over. See what you think. Now look at that. Look at that. Look at that.